All right, so now we're going to look at going into guillotines when we're passing our partner's guard, whether it be to actually finish the guillotine or whether we just lock up a headlock or a chin strap on our partner, and we use that to move into a positional play where we pass our partner. But the main thing is we have an initial threat of a guillotine that we can either finish, or we use the distraction of the guillotine so our partner's hand fighting, not framing, and then we can use that to either force half guard or just outright pass our partner's guard completely. All right, so now we're going to look at footballing our partner's head from this position. Now, most of the time that we do this, it's going to be from a standing position. You can also do it from this position. So if I'm here and I'm playing with my partner and I'm trying to sit her down, I'm posting on the shoulders and she keeps leaning forward, what I can do is I can use a variety of ways where I can post the shoulders like so. As she goes to strip the grip, I can come up with the second hand and I can collar tie and football it to my hand like so. I can use the V grip. That same hand has V gripping to go in. I push, and then I can pull with the same hand, and I can football. There's a lot of different grip fighting variations here. The main thing is that we need one hand to the collar and one hand ready to catch, however it may be. So I'm hand fighting here. I push. I push. I push, pull. I push. I'm pushing. I'm playing around. I push, pull, and I football. Me personally, I like to do it from standing position because now I can step to the inside position and I can use, and I'm a lot more mobile because I'm standing. So we're here, we're playing around, we're feinting the lead leg as we always do. We're pulling, we're pushing, we're going in. She's coming up, pulling the head in. So here, I'm pulling the head in, I'm footballing. And I just step in, I catch, and I football. All right. As I look to go in, if I'm in standing position, when I look to go in and football my partner's head and catch the head, I go right hand, right foot. So my right hand goes collar tie, my right foot steps in, my left hand catches. And now we're in here. So now immediately we can step around and look to go in and figure out how we're falling properly to go in and lock up our guillotines for the win. So we can do some standing position, we can do from kneeling position, but if you're going to look to actually finish the guillotine, we're looking at standing position into situations where we can step over and fall back. All right, so as we spoke about, let's look at how we can fall into a situation where I can control my partner's hips and get this finish for the guillotine. So right from here, we football the head. As we football the head, we want to look to tuck our partner's head, of course, into our armpit, and now we can go high wrist. We can go high elbow. There's a bunch of different guillotines we can do from here. The choice you make is going to be up to you. They're all effective from here. Once I actually get the guillotine, my goal is to create a dilemma between close guard and mount. The second I get this in position, I want to take a big step around my partner's body. And now right from here, I fall down to my hip. So that right away, I can throw my legs up and over into this position. If my partner from here elects to try to go into a defensive role, she'll pull me into top mount. Most people from this position will elect to take top position. And as she goes to come on top, she falls right into a tight guillotine where we can go in. We can easily go guillotine. We can easily switch to triangle. We can play with our most effective strangling position where our legs are completely wrapped around our partner's body. Okay? So right from here, we're playing around, we're feinting, we're moving around. I football the head, I move right into this position here. Now, right from here, I take a big step, like so. Once I take that big step, I just squat down. And now I fall out to my left hip. Here. If my partner goes into a defensive role, she'll fall into bottom position and get finished. Most people will come into top position and get finished. This is an excellent way to lock up a guillotine on a seated player and getting that hip-to-hip connection the second we lock it up. So the second I step right leg in, right hand goes collar tie. Right hand feeds to left hand. Here. The second I feed the guillotine in, I step around the corner. Now I squat with concave shoulders, and I just flip my legs up and over, and wherever our partner goes, because you have that robust hip-to-hip connection with the closed guard or the mount, we're going to finish almost every time, as long as you set the hands properly. And the whole time, we're looking to set the hands and get the hands in place as we're falling into position. We don't fall and then try to set the hands. We set the hands through the movement so that by the time we fall, everything's already set and it's already too late for defensive hand fighting. All right, so this time, one of the most common reactions you're going to get when you pull someone's head down and cover it with your chest is a pullback reaction. Okay, this is pretty standard. So the second I feel, my partner feels that I go and I football the head and I go a step around the corner, my partner's already trying to free the head and sit back into a supine position to recover guard and not have any further danger. So the second I football the head from here, my partner goes to move back and away. Right from here, I just post my right hand. So as she goes to roll, I just roll with her. And now wherever she chooses to go, we're just right up, ready to go into all of our attacks. So when you get this strong pullback reaction, where you don't feel like you're going to have the time to step over, and it's going to be awkward if you fall because your partner's already halfway supine down to her back, we just go in, we step, the second we pull, we get a pullback. As she goes to pull, I look away from the side of her head. I want to roll her onto my face. So if my left hand has a chin strap, I look right. So as she goes to roll, I post the hand, we roll through, I grab control of my partner's arm, and now wherever she goes to move, we're right up into all of our attacks. All right, so let's start looking now at using the initial guillotine grips to knee slide, not just knee slide, but just leg palm will pass our partner's legs to either side. So first we'll start standing. We go in, we step into this position, right leg goes in, left hand catch. Right from here, I have ability to start knee sliding on my partner. Understand that I can knee slide to the side of the head or the opposite side of the head. If I slide to the side that my partner's head is on, it's a pretty easy thing to get chest to chest, and when she tries to come up into me from here, I can flatten my partner out. So I can end up in top position with the guillotine if I slide to the side my partner's head is on. If, however, I slide to the opposite side of my partner's head, so let's say we go in and we play this game, I go to knee slide this way, my partner blocks my knee, I take my knee back in, we take our second leg in, and we knee slide in this position, your partner almost always will turn to face you. She doesn't want to get flattened out here. So you will almost always slide through and then turn and face your partner and end up in a front headlock where we're ready to go in and start attacking our partner from this position. Okay, so if we put two legs on the opposite side of the side our partner's head is on, like this, for example, almost always will your partner aggressively turn and face you, and you'll end up here. If you put two knees and two legs on the side of your partner's head when she goes to turn and face you, it's hard for your partner to do so because you're chest to chest from here. So as she goes to get up, it's difficult. There's no threat of her taking your back. Here, there's a threat of her going ear to back if your grip isn't deep, and she can put your hands to the floor and expose your back. So almost always, as you slide through, she will go to get up, she'll turn and face her, and you'll end up in front headlock from here. Okay? This is true as well for on knees. So if I go here, and I slide through, I go up, I either put the knee through, a lot of times, I'll block it with the hands. So as my partner goes to bring the knees to the chest, and she goes to pull back and away, we slide on through. Now she goes to get up. That's hard. Or from here, we go in, we push her leg down, we slide across. She comes up, and now we're in front headlock, and we're ready to go. You can go front headlock, and you can look to expose your partner's back from these positions. I generally opt to move into side control with my legs on the same side as my partner's head, just because it's a little bit more of a control-based game. Your partner can't move as much, there's not as much scrambles from there. And I just feel generally more comfortable chest to chest than scrambling with people. It's just my personal game. Whatever your personal game is, if it's a movement-based game, go with the front headlock and then threatening a go behind, maybe more suitable to you. Okay? Another thing that we can do is we can start to get kind of intricate with the leg pommeling from here. So if I go in, and we're in this position, I don't have to go with my left knee across to go into a knee slide. I can take my right knee up to the hip, and now from here, I can just pummel my legs on by. And now, as I pummel my legs on by, now I can go across into shin mount. If she turns towards me, I can go to front headlock. So there's a lot of intricate and interesting ways I can pummel my legs here to get past my partner's legs. They're not just knee slides. I can go in here. I don't have to just knee slide across. I can have my right knee in, and I can just play this game. I can take 2 knees in. I can go into mount. As she goes to turn into me, I can go shin mount. I can slide her out from here. She really turns into me, and then you go front headlock. We attack the guillotine. And so there's many ways, tell you. There's many ways from here that we can play with different leg positions. We can use this to force half guard. We can threaten a knee slide initially, or I go here, and now we can go across and we can touch our partner's hip and we can threaten sliding into mount. So maybe I'm playing here, maybe she has to pull away. I go to knee slide, she pushes my knee down, and now we slide across into mounted position. So there's a lot of different leg riding scenarios, which obviously there's no leg riding instructional yet. There's a lot of different leg riding scenarios, like pommeling scenarios, and knee slide options that we can look at once we football our partner's head and we control it with the guillotine. And we can use the thread of the guillotine for her hands are coming up, she's defending the strangle, and then we pommel our legs through, either to 2 legs on the same side of our partner's body for more, 2 legs on the same side as the head for a more control-based game, flattening our partner out, keeping her belly up, or 2 legs on the opposite side of our partner's body, usually looking to create front headlock exchanges and back exposure. All right, so now we're going to look at going into using guillotines from a half guard scenario, from a top half guard scenario. And this starts to get interesting because a lot of the guillotines that we're going to look at, you won't be able to finish your partner from a top half guard. But the threat of the guillotines will take away your partner's ability to frame. If your partner doesn't address the guillotine can start to get tight, and you can potentially finish your partner if they don't come in and hand fight and pull the hands down. And as they're focused on the guillotine, and not focused on the frames, and not focused on where your leg position is, and then you can go in, you can use that to pass either into side control, into mount, and then once you're passed into side control or mount, obviously you can go back to the guillotine and look to finish. So we're going to play a basic dilemma game between putting heat on the guillotine and using the threat of the guillotine to get into situations where we can get past our partner's legs. All right, so let's look at some setups from half guard. Anytime that my partner is coming towards me, usually it's almost always with an underhook. She's trying to come up on the elbow on a power prop to get to an underhook and come towards me. That's what I'm going to look to start punching in my guillotines. Okay, so there's a couple of ways we can do this. Number one, good. As my partner goes to come up towards me, let's say she has a knee shield, for example. She kicks the knee shield out, she goes up, she punches the underhook in. And from here, we go in, and now we can start leaning forward and getting into situations where we can lock up guillotines. All right, so this is the first one, where we can go in, we can get the guillotine first, lock up the grip, and then we can look to free our knee and free our leg and pass half guard into side control or to mount. Another great option we have is as my partner goes to come up towards me, we can go in and we can just post on our partner's hip here. Now as she goes to come up with the underhook, I give her the underhook, go ahead, but I take my knee and I just place it here on my partner's hip. So that right from here, we can now take the guillotine grip like so, and now right away, once we have the guillotine grip, we can flatten our partner out to the ground, and we can post our knee down on the floor and move into 3/4 mount, and look to pass from there. So we can look to the main function from the guillotine, if we're going to stay on top, is to threaten the guillotine, or at least hold the guillotine to pin the shoulders long enough to pummel my legs on by. So whether she sits up and whether I just drape my body on over like so, we go into a situation where we lock up with the arm in. We can also pommel a hand inside if possible. We can use high elbow guillotines, things like that. We can start to get creative from this position. But most of the time, you're going to have a lot going on here. You're going to look to use arm in setups. Or, as she goes to come up, we just go in, we post on our partner's hip, and we just free our knee. So that now, right from here, we can just lock everything in place, drive our knee down to the ground, lock everything up, and then make your adjustments from here. Okay? Now, I just mentioned, you can move into situations where you pommel hands inside and you look to go for high elbow positions, and you can finish guillotines from here. But most of the time, the most reliable thing I'm looking to do from here is just to use the cranial shift, control over my partner's head and shoulders, to pin the head and shoulders long enough to pummel my legs past into a better finishing position, whether it be side control or mount, and then finish from there. So I'm not going to say it's wrong to lock a high elbow, to fall down into positions like this, and then try to finish. You can do that by crunching your partner's chin to your chest, and then finishing with the high elbow grips, or locking in a full figure four like so, or going power guillotine. You can finish from there, but most of the time from here, if you start doing that, she takes the hand up and over, she pulls everything, she pulls the elbow down, no, just pull the elbow. She pulls the elbow down from here, and now you're not going to be able to finish a low elbow guillotine. And now you're going to have to go in, control the head and the shoulders, whether it be with an underhook, whether it be with an overhook, and look to start going in and passing your partner's guard from here. So most of the time, it's always going to degenerate until you have control of your partner's head and shoulders, and then you have to go into ways to pass. And then once you pass, you can either solidify the pin and work with something else, or finish with the guillotine. All right, so now we're going to look at passing the side control. We can pass in various ways. You can pass to both sides as well. I typically prefer one side versus the other, but you can pass to both sides if you're looking to finish the guillotine. And we'll look at which one's better for pinning, which one's not as good for pinning, but you can still hit submissions off of there. But the main thing is going to be, as I'm sure most of you have watched, one of my guard passing instructionals, keeping the head and shoulders pinned, and then just posturing up and pommeling legs to the inside position. Okay, so whenever we have the guillotine, let's switch sides. Whenever we have a guillotine, whether it be with an arm-in guillotine or whether it be with an underhook, the choice is yours. So let's say I go for a high elbow, she pulls the elbow down, and I use it to punch my hand to the inside. We're going to be looking to just pin the head and shoulders one way or the other. If I have an arm-in guillotine, I'm going to elect to initially lock it up, pin my partner's shoulders, and then I'm just going to post my hand out as a base of support here. So now if my partner tries to thrash and turn from one side to the other, I have a wider base of support. You're not going to finish the guillotine from here, so it's much better to just post your hand out and use it as a base of support out of the mat. If you have an underhook, however, then you can keep the underhook and you can still post it out pretty wide, and you can use that underhook to support yourself. Now from here, my whole thing is I want to get a left leg butterfly up to the inside position. I've stolen the upper body inside position, I have to steal the lower body inside position. So right from here, we're just going to start posturing up, or piking up, and we're just going to pommel our shoelaces to the inside. If I steal, I try to pommel my shoelaces to the inside, and my partner points her knee so far toward the ceiling where I just cannot pommel my foot to the inside. As you guys probably have seen from here, we use our knee inside our partner's hip, like so. So that from here, so we can bring the knee down, we can pommel our foot to the inside. So now we can put our knee down on the floor like so. Once our knee is on the floor, whether I have an underhook, I keep the underhook, or if you have a post, it means nothing. The whole thing is just to drive that far shoulder towards the floor. And now, as always, we just take our foot to the top of our partner's top leg. That frees the heel. I take my foot to my partner's bottom leg. That frees the rest of the foot. And now right from here, we're in position to go in and lock up our guillotine. If we have an arm out guillotine, we have an underhook, the hands come up hot, and we can still finish from here by just pulling my left elbow to my left hip and crunching my partner's chin to the chest. We can get pretty strong finishes from here if you have your hands set properly and everything in place. I have an arm-in guillotine, same kind of idea. I can go hip to hip, I can start turning my hips, pulling everything up, and we can get strangulation, turn side control for the win after passing. Okay, so that's the first one. So we go in, we flatten our partner out, we have the guillotine. We either use base support like so, or if we have an underhook, we use a wide underhook here. Now we start piking up. Right from this position, we go in, we pommel our foot inside. If we feel that our partner points the knee so high so we can't pommel the foot, we go knee first, foot second. And now right from here, we slide our knee down to the floor. Once our knee's on the floor, I just focus on pinning this far shoulder, whether I'm here or whether I'm here. We just pin that far shoulder like so. Now we post top leg, bottom leg, we pass, and we're ready to go in and we start playing our game from there, whether it be finishing with guillotine, like so, or whether it be switching to a cross face and just electing to go and starting our pin and starting our pinning work and working through our hierarchy here. Okay, so that's passing into side control on one side. We can also pass the side control on the other side. So let's say from here, we just drive our partner's far shoulder to the floor. Now we start to pike up. We can also just take our knee across and we can start knee sliding across in this direction. Now, as we slide across in this direction, we can pass. But understand from here, I have to be ready to face my partner. If she comes up to her elbow from this position and my grip isn't deep enough and she goes ear to back, this is a real danger from here. So you can pass to the side, but as you pass, just be ready to open up your knee. So if your partner tries to scrimmage up towards you, she comes onto your legs, and now we can just go in, lock up, close guard. We can get some kind of connection to our partner, and we can finish our partner from there. So you can pass the side control on the opposite side, but just be ready for your partner to come up and try to start facing you. So from here, sorry, allergies. So from here, we go in, we pin our partner's far shoulder. From this position, we can start going in and start making our way into passing positions by going into high tripods, all right? What we can also do from here is we can start pushing our partner's knee down and take our knee across. Now from here, we just extract our leg, we move into this position. Now I have to be ready to face my partner. The second she goes to get up, I just touch my partner's far hip with my knee. So as she goes to get up on top of me, at the bare minimum, we lock up some kind of hip-to-hip connection, where from here, we can go in with whatever guillotine we want and finish our partner right from here, okay? So we can pass into both sides. And this, obviously, there's a lot more in-depth passing that we can do and passing options and training passing together, but that's just turns into a full guard passing instructional. So these are your main options: passing from one side, passing to one side control, passing to the other side control, and then just the pros and cons. If you pass to the same side as your partner's head with the heads on bottom, it's pretty easy to keep your partner pinned. If you start passing across the other side, your back can get exposed. Expect to scramble, expect to scrimmage. Be ready to face your partner, so as she goes to come up on top of you and chase your back, you can just face them, put them in close guard, get the connection with the hips, and then finish your partner. All right, so now let's look at passing to mount. So passing to mount, you have very similar options, all right? You can go into a high tripod, you can free your knees, and then you can free your knee, and instead of passing into side control, putting your knee on the floor on the inside hip, or going knee slide across, you just take your partner's hips and put them between your knees and start passing into mounted position, right? So right from here, I pin my partner's far shoulder like so, and now right away, we start going into a high tripod. Right from here, off this high tripod, we just put our foot in place, and right away, we just free that knee. And now we just put our two knees down on the floor. As she goes to start moving around, the head's still controlled. I just smack the mat with my feet, and now we can adjust into various guillotines and finish our partner right from here. We can also use that same knee sliding method, where right from here, we can either insert the knee, then insert the butterfly hook. I can knee slide, I can fake knee sliding across until I just free my knee, and as my knee comes free, we just move into a situation where we have our legs split. My partner will probably lock onto my ankle from here, in which case we can just go in, reinsert the butterfly hook, smack the mat, pass into mount, and then finish from mounted position. We can also use, again, that far knee post, where I flatten my partner out. I start walking. She tries to keep my hip or my knee locked in, and I just post my partner's knee, and I slide my knee down to the floor. And right from here, as she goes to start moving, a lot of times she's going to start pushing that knee back down. This is the best time for me to punch the underhook back in, or to overwrap the arm. When she starts pushing, we just go in, we pull everything up, we overwrap, we go into an arm and guillotine, and we lock up. Now right from here, we slap the mat, and we're ready to go. Many times, because you're in 3/4 mount, you can start putting heat on your partner with the guillotine. Most of the time from here, she will try to elicit a reaction and off-balancing you by starting to bridge. The second your partner goes to bridge and unlocks the legs, we just smack the mat, we cross the ankles, and we're ready to go. All right, so same tapping options, just different knee positions. Instead of putting our 2 knees to one side of our partner's body, we split our knees with our partner's body, moving to mount and working from there. And of course, a lot more in-depth passing with passing instructional, but this is just some good ways to chain guillotines and passing together. All right, so now let's look at an option that we have when our partner goes to come up. When we actually sacrifice top position, you'll see this a lot in my rolling footage. This is one of my favorite ones to go to. My partner goes to sit up into an underhook from here, and I just drape my body up and over my partner's head like so. Now, right from here, I allow my partner to start coming up towards me. My goal from here is to shoot my shoulder all the way through so I can get my hand up into this position. The only way that I can really achieve this is by sacrificing top position. So right from here, I just go in and I start sagging down to the floor like so. And as she goes to start coming up, I just shoot my body with concave shoulders under my partner's body, and I move into a scenario where I can see my fingertips emerging, and I just lock up and over my partner's hand with this overwrap from here. Now, right from here, wherever she chooses to go, because I have a high risk position, we can finish our partner regardless of where she moves. With this one, I don't even need to have a connection with my hips. She can roll all the way up and over right from here, and as long as I control my partner's elbow, I can finish my partner right from here by just tensing the arm and just walking my partner's chin into the chest and bringing my 2 elbows together. So I just take my right elbow, I control my partner's elbow, that wedges my hand in place, and now from here, literally by just flexing your arm, you can get strong finishes. Add to this, the chest coming forward, the chin coming down, and you get incredibly strong finishes. So right from here, we go in. The second she goes to start coming up, I just sag, and I allow her to come into top position. As she goes to do so, we just fall through, we get our hand into position, and now we're ready to go in, lock up, and finish our partner with high wrist. The whole thing is I really need to sacrifice top position here. So I need to dive my shoulder underneath. I need to get my head from the top shoulder to the bottom shoulder. So my head really has to move from here. So I allow her to come on top. I almost pull her on top of me. We shoot our hand through. We're ready to go. All right, so now let's look at sailed Kimura into guillotine. So my partner's down, and she looks to start coming up towards me. And I use a V grip inside my partner's armpit. So when she goes to use the underhook effectively, it's not nearly as effective. Right from here, we can immediately go with an overwrap, and we can start switching into Kimura transitions. Now, once I have a situation where I can lock a Kimura, I elect to flatten my partner out, and we can go into Kimura from here. Many times, as I'm trying to flatten my partner out, it's hard. My partner's fighting towards me. She's shrimping away. It's hard to flatten my partner out from here. I try to expose my partner's wrist, but she keeps the wrist tight, and I feel like it's just taking too long. It's too hard from here. I can threaten the Kimura, and then right away, if I feel like the Kimura is going to fail from here, she's worried about the Kimura. A lot of times we just go right back in. We drape our body up and over our partner's head and shoulders, and we just move right back into guillotine. So this is a scenario where she goes to sit forward towards me. We kill the underhook with the V grip here. From here, we just go on and we switch into this position. Now we want to sit our partner down. Many times from here, it's hard to sit our partner down, whatever the case is. the Kimura is just not working from here, we just go in and we switch right into a situation where we go right back to guillotine. One of my favorite ones is I go for the Kimura here, and immediately I just go through, I sit, we pull our partner up on top, we switch into a high wrist, we finish our partner right there, switching from the thread of the Kimura, getting her concentrated on that, and then moving right back into guillotine transitions.